Okay, so that looks a bit loud. Gotta tweak some settings because the microphone looks very loud. I'm talking really quietly right now. Reduce that. Let's see, is that better? Yeah, that looks much better. Or it could be probably is the like audio filters makes the low noises louder. Yeah. What's up, Doberman? So I'm gonna be working on scripting today. I'm thinking I'm gonna basically try and implement so that script assemblies reload automatically when you create a build from Visual Studio. I have a couple of things that I'm going to be working on, like with scripting. There's actually quite a few things because we want to make that a lot more solid, like I did with the physics system, which is like the physics work is pretty much done. I'm just sort of waiting for Jan to merge that in. It's been a while since I streamed last. I may try switching over to my other microphone because I'm using the headset microphone right now. Jan said that this one doesn't sound as good as my other one, but I think my other microphone sounds too echoey when I use it on stream. But so I'm gonna give that a shot later on. Okay. We already have script asset type. Was I planning on doing this at some other point? Oh no, I know what this is. That is not what I'm gonna be working on. It's the thing that lets us show script in here. That's what that asset is for. But I've already been doing some basic work on scripting in general. Mainly, I made it so that we are correctly referencing all of the kind of system libraries, which we weren't before. So, for an example, we couldn't use stopwatch in the past. We couldn't use immutable dictionary, for an example. And that was mainly because Hazel just paid no attention to if a C# assembly had references. But we now do that, so we load them properly. And I think I can show that, at least somewhat. I think, maybe not. Yeah, loading assembly system.dll referenced by scripting sandbox. And the same thing for system collections immutable. So we are loading references. But what I'm going to be working on is, if I go and load this up, if I were to go and, let's see, there it is. If I were to make a change to this script, say I add a public float, just call it test, assign it to 10, and I go in and build, it won't appear here automatically, right? We have to manually reload it. And even then it doesn't show up. That's interesting. I think Tim had the same issue at some point. I'm just going to create a new empty, try and reload. Can't remember how he fixed it. I might have. I'm gonna have to investigate that at some point as well. So I have to do this. I have to select it again in order for it to refresh. That's not correct. So should I start working on automatic reloading, or should I try and track down that bug first? Let's... Let's at the very least take a look here. Sorry, what? Oh, it's matching the whole word. Here we are. Because we use this and it's sc.field IDs. So I'm suspecting we just don't update this when we do a refresh. Because we do this, shouldn't this do that? It clears it and it does that. Well, that looks like it's gonna be a pain to debug. So, I'm just gonna add that as a to-do. And I might do it this stream. I may end up doing it some other day. Okay. So let's work on this reloading. I'm going to be taking advantage of the asset system because that already supports like detecting file changes. Which means that we just have to go and register an asset. A script module. Ugh. Honestly, we don't need to keep track of these numbers anymore, because we serialize these by names, not by value. I think. Okay. Okay. Now I do actually have to define like a proper asset for it. Let's do it in here. Now, if I'm not incorrect, I believe, yeah, I think Visual Studio copies some of the TLLs into here. Because if I go and delete these, we do a build. Yeah, it does. That's mildly annoying. We're gonna have to check for that, because those will also register as grid module assets. I think it's under asset registry. New. I'm looking for the extension map. Here. Don't think we need to take in any parameters. We only really care about the file name. So that should be fine. Okay. I'm gonna have to make a serializer because that's how we'll be notified. I think it's the try loaded data that gets called when the file has changed. And serialize won't do anything. Because I think it's metadata file path. Yeah, that's what we're gonna care about. So I think okay, if I just run this, then in theory we should actually get the DLLs showing up in the content browser. So I think it does that automatically. As long as we have an asset, it should be fine. Hey? Okay, that was weird. My Streamlabs vanished for a moment. Okay, whatever. But yeah, probably over the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna be working on something. I'm gonna be working on quite a few exciting things with the scripting stuff. Like not necessarily just the boring. Right, whatever. No, we should return false. Yeah, so I'm gonna be working on, for an example, allowing scripts to kind of execute in edit mode as opposed to only in play mode. We'll see how we kind of go about doing that. That will actually let us do some very powerful things with the editor. Yeah, and we can actually see all of the script modules in here now, including Hazel script core. It would be nice if we could have a way of filtering this kind of stuff, so that, say, we don't try and load honestly, it would be kind of nice if we could prevent the assets from appearing in the content browser completely. I can't do that, but it's only done through, like, I can do it through by hard coding it. And I think it's in here. If it's that, because I want it to be an asset and it's a file, so we kind of have to load it that way, but I don't want it to appear here. So let's do if entry path string find. Should probably check just the extension. This is what I don't like about the like S3 file system. There's no way to say do entry path find, which means you have to convert it to a standard string, which does a copy, I think, and then you have to do find. I actually want to do this instead. To lower dot find, because the Windows file system is not case sensitive, so it could be DLL with capital letters as well. If it's not string npos, just continue, and I'll leave a note. Hard coding this to prevent DLLs from appearing in the content browser. We may want that at some point. If we want to say support like dropping DLLs into the project to kind of use them as references. But for now, I don't really care about that. So they no longer appear. Good. And I don't think, say, refreshing should do anything exactly. Nice. So here we need to first of all get the file path. Let's get the file name, convert it to a string, which, yeah, it does a copy, which is mildly annoying. Because what I want to do is do an access to project, get I believe we always try to load it. I think we always expect the name of the DLL to be the same as the project name. Get script module file path. Yeah, because it does this. So that's a string, good. If file name find If that's equal, return false. Don't load, only load the project DLL. And if this happens, we pretty much only need to call reload assembly. Question is, I'm not sure I can do this here, because this is going to execute on a separate thread. I'm pretty sure. Potentially. And just return true, I guess. Although we should check, because I think this might fire immediately on startup. If we take a look. No, it actually doesn't. However, if I get rid of this, do a build. Still did not trigger. Oh, because I haven't. I'm dumb. I need to go into asset importer and add it. There. Did I? Okay, so it didn't run on startup. That's good. Means that we don't have to do any checks. So add this back, do a build. Still didn't. Why didn't trigger? That is annoying. Do we get here? No. Have I forgotten how to implement assets? Let's go to documentation. Implementing new assets. We've done this. We've added it. We've done that. I have this. I mean, I'm not returning an asset, which could be a problem, because we're supposed to write to this. Does this doesn't return anything? Well, yeah, I guess it wouldn't be able to. Well, yeah, it can, because this. This whole system isn't really set up in a great way, because if this fails to load, then we kind of still have to restore this, which I think is what this does. So let's make reload return a boolean. Then return loaded. If success, we need to do asset create and set the handle. I think this may solve it. But this never got called. So maybe this fails? Looked like it was a bit bright. Okay, so that doesn't run on startup. Which makes sense, I think. Because it should only run... Actually, no, it doesn't make sense. No, wait. Yeah, I think it does. Because we don't import it. But even if we don't import it on startup, if I make a change, it should run. But it doesn't. Okay. So this gets called by asset importer try load data. And we do have the type. This is called in there. But it's also called, what we call get asset. Reload data. Thing is that we're not getting this even. So where's reload data called from? Called from here. But only if data is loaded. Which seems like a bit of a flaw, seeing as this literally handles that. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here. Is it not detecting it? It's not. Can we disable this? Because we should be hitting... It might have been disabled. Because it's broken in this one, I think. Because I branched off master. So this... No, we should be... Hmm. Okay, we do hit this. Do we ever get in here? Yeah, we do. That's correct. We get a valid handle. That is the case. Okay, and then we wait there. But at some point, we should hit this. So maybe we're ignoring it. No. That probably detected the file change. Yeah, you see, what's this? Now we don't hit it. Well, this is... But if I do this, and hit save, we still don't hit it. Okay. Are we just calling... Yeah, something's not quite right here. Oh. It's because we set result to false. And because we do that, we break out of this loop. So, ignore next change, in fact, ignores every change. Ever. So, comment that out. I might have to take a look at how I fixed this in the editor workflow branch, because I do remember fixing some issues with it. So this is gonna be slightly annoying, but if I... Okay, let's go to open world playlist. Did we hit the breakpoint? Well, we don't have a breakpoint, so... Either way, in asset serializer, we should hit it when we build. And we don't. Right. Because of this, I suspect. So, bring that back, do a build. Okay. Which one's this? Nothing, apparently. I didn't even build yet. No, I built. Okay, so let's take a look in here. Okay, this is good. Good progress, but is data loaded is false, meaning it will never hit this function. So, what I could do is simply remove this check and let this handle it, because it will do try load data. Or, yeah, and I think that's actually better, to be honest, because that doesn't rely on a file path, whereas this does. Well, I mean, it doesn't rely on it directly, at least. So, if I just yeet that, only check that the metadata is at least valid. We go in here, we get rid of that, and we do build. We hit this, good. So we do find that, we then go reload, and it crashes because we're running it from a different thread. So what I'm gonna have to do is, instead of doing this, we're gonna have to defer this. So I'm gonna have to do like script engine schedule reload of that one. Now, slight problem. We can't determine if it's successful or not, at least not here. So we're gonna have to handle that some other way. But let's assume, for now, that it does succeed. So, let's have it here, static void. Schedule, reload of that assembly. Yeah. That sounds good. I don't know, whatever. And for now, we're only gonna be reloading the project assembly, so we can just do an assignment. We don't have to keep track of how many times it's called or anything like that. And let's do reload scheduled assemblies, and this will just be constantly called. So we'll do if it's empty, just fail. Otherwise, reload assembly with that. And then, do we have a clear? We do, good. And then we can probably do this in editor layer, to be honest, because you're not going to be reloading stuff in the runtime. So probably on update, I think. Let's do it after we've waited for all of the render threads, which don't exist. This should, in theory, work because we'll be reloading it on the main thread and not on the file watcher thread. Okay, my Streamlabs is struggling to function properly. Hang on. I think my Streamlabs is slightly broken because I can't see that latest chat message. Now they show up. Okay, so Streamlabs is struggling. Implodey, what's up? Implode. This shouldn't work is what I tell to myself every time I'm working with threads. Spoiler, it does not work in practice. Yeah, biggest reason I have been refusing to touch multi-threading. It's pain. Like, I struggle with the file watcher thread, and that's the simplest thread. Doesn't really have to do much in terms of synchronization or anything like that. Ralph Jaeger, what's up, man? Okay. I think Streamlabs is having problems when it's not the focused window, because it's not updating the stream chat if it's not focused, which is super annoying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly open up the stream manager on Twitch. And use that instead. But yeah, let's check if this works. Okay, we hit that. Let's check this. Well, isn't this fun? Where's it coming? It's coming from A. Okay. What's the metadata? It's the intermediates one. Oh, I'm gonna have to check for that as well. Because that will cause so many problems that I'm not about that. Fun. Okay. Let's just have the entire file path. And use that. So if file path find, let's do, yeah, intermediates. Because the thing is, I can't, the problem is it will always generate, hang on, not that one, it's, wait, yeah, it is this one. This contains a reference assembly. Which is a problem. I could just do a comparison, to be honest, between this result and file path, potentially. Actually, let's try that. Let's do if that's not equal to that, return false. And I hope that this works the way I hope it does. Because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be annoyed. Let's give that a go. Make sure we have a breakpoint. Okay. This is the intermediates one, which returns false. This is also the intermediates one. And this is the regular one, which also return false apparently. Because this is relative. to the project directory. It's not an absolute path. So just do that, I guess. Super annoying because sometimes Windows 11 doesn't open the window. It just kind of, I need to figure out how the entry points of a game made in my engine. You don't have entry points? It needs to work a bit like RenderDoc Inside. I'm not sure what you mean. As in you kind of just connect the engine to like a different process or something. Yeah, it has it as a separate process. Okay. Yeah, that sounds a bit like a pain. Wait, hang on. This is not an absolute path. Presumably it doesn't have... This would have the project directory attached. It increases stability in case game crashes and allows hot reloading whilst using native code. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, hot reloading native code is fun to deal with. Like obviously Visual Studio supposedly supports it with 2022, and I'm sure it works great in a lot of cases, but not strictly for a static library. Some parts of Hazel are kind of hot reloadable, but the kind of engine, the majority of the engine isn't, unfortunately. So this has the project directory appended. So fine, let's just do, okay. This should work. Tell you what, for now I'll just do const auto file path, and I won't do it as a reference because I can't, and that, well, I might be able to, but that's dumb. And just so I can compare, I'll do module path. Okay, let's give that a go. I did not think I would have this much trouble. But then again, I mean, you never do. Crap. Whatever, I don't care. So, let's give it a shot again. Do I still have my breakpoint? Yes, good. Control B. File path, which is apparently an absolute path. And but in that case, module path should be absolute. Well, rather said, I won't do interprocess stuff directly, but I want the refactor to interprocess stuff to be as painless as possible. Yeah, keeping things as painless as possible is the everlasting struggle with programming, because you make one minor mistake early on and you're gonna suffer. Hey? How? Okay, I'm gonna have to... Wait, what? Did that actually... Screw it. I'm doing it the way I was going to from the beginning. Let's do file path, convert it to a string. If intermediates is not string and post return false. If we don't find the project name, we return false. I can't be bothered. Seriously. The std file system path seems to be a bit not great when it comes to sort of your typical string operations, like, I don't know, comparison and finding stuff. The problem is the one voice that tells you just this one time, do a quick and dirty workaround to get it working. Yeah, I tend to do that quite a bit, unfortunately. I've kind of started to try and avoid that. Okay, let's check. Well, this is great. I mean, regardless, we're gonna be reloading the correct one either way, but I don't want to reload it multiple times, because this runs like 4 times every time, and that feels like it's gonna cause problems at some point. And then one workaround becomes 50, and then everything just breaks. Yeah. Actually, it shouldn't really matter if this runs multiple times, since we don't do the reloading. But you see, the problem is we may still end up reloading multiple times, which might be fine, to be honest. I'm just gonna trust this, and that was a mistake. And then one workaround becomes 50, and then everything just breaks. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so what happened here? And of course it won't let me... Loaded assets is 0. That makes virtually no sense at all. Presumably this gets set to true, and then it will just go and try and find it. But for some reason it doesn't exist. Okay, let's do the painful thing and go into debug mode. It's been a while since I've done a debug build, so seems to take a while. I also need to make sure to test the Hazel Tools extension with the latest version of Visual Studio 2022, because I suspect that it is bound to break at some point, and I'm gonna have to fix it. So apparently at a breakpoint here. That looks correct. Okay, let's check. What is this? Okay, is that a... Should I just always return false in the serializer? Because that's what's causing this. Because we're trying to add it in here. Well, we're trying to get it in here, but it doesn't exist because it wasn't technically ever imported. I could technically also do import asset here. Just give it the file path. Which is probably a better way of doing it anyways. Because if you're trying, because I think this will add it. No. It won't add it to the load and assets map. Okay, in that case, I'm just gonna go ahead and go into undo that. Go into here and just always return false. And that should solve things. Okay. Okay. It worked, I think. Let's so if I come in here and I just get rid of that, build it. I'm scared that this is gonna break horribly. We open up here. We don't have that value. Good. Now it still doesn't show up until I do that, but it is sort of like registering that it does have a new value. So it is automatically reloading, which is good. Now, can I have to track down this bug? Because for some reason, when we call reload assembly, it's not showing up. And I think to track down this bug, I'm gonna have to do a debug, which is gonna be painful. Hang on. No. I know why this is happening. Because when we come in here, right, we cache all of the old fields. We then go through them and but we'll also call initialize entity, which should update this. Huh. Well, let's just start debugging. Because clearly something doesn't work. Also, there seems to be a stream delay, even though I've actually gone ahead and disabled the stream delay in Streamlabs. So well, I mean, it would help if I'd done this in the correct scene as well. Okay. Now we shouldn't have any old fields, which we don't. That is correct. So we go ahead and load. Oh, hang on a minute. Uh-huh. So that's a problem. We never actually do anything in here. Okay. Let's get rid of this. The build, just hit F5. Then restore that and put our breakpoint up here. Yeah, code that doesn't do anything when it's supposed to. I suspect it's actually because the entity instance doesn't have any fields, and for some reason that prevents the entity itself from being added into here. I could of course track entities separately, but it would be nice to do it all in one giant map instead of multiple smaller maps. So, well, see, this is a problem because entity instances doesn't exist. There's nothing there. Is this a bug I've fixed already in one of the other branches? Because it feels like it. No, actually, I don't think I have, because I was experiencing this in one of the other branches as well. So for some reason, we don't have anything in entity instances. Okay. But how does play mode even work then? Okay, so if I go ahead and launch this, I should get a bunch of messages appearing. And I do. So how is it being runtime initialized when it doesn't exist in the entity instances map? Okay. First question, why is this not being populated when we load? If I go into the scene serializer, we check for script component. We add the component. Now, adding the component will trigger callback in here. It will trigger this callback. So that should happen if I do this. Okay. Cool. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. That looks good. So, okay, let's do this. In script engine, put a breakpoint here and inspect this. We do have entity instances here. I don't know if I ever decide to stream. I'll just title this stream Suffering. I should do that because this is pain. Okay, so it's populated here. But then, by the time we reload, it's not. So what's up with that? Because if I put a breakpoint in here and we get rid of that one. So at this point in time, the entity instances should be populated. Let's do a manual reload. And it is. So what's up? We have an entity. But we don't have... We apparently have a field. I love it when stuff only works some of the time. Because we then clear this, and then we clear that. So now it's 0. We do have these. So we go and initialize it. We run through all of this. And when we get here, it now has stuff there. Huh. Okay. See, this is why I just don't. Let's inspect here. So it now it works. Okay. Fun. Okay. Get rid of that test field, because it might be a problem when we don't have any fields and then we add them. I suspect that's the case. Which would make sense considering how I have written the code. Now, do we have entity instances? Yeah, exactly. We don't have any now. But if I add this back and run it, we should. If my theory is correct, which I think it is. No. That might just be because we... Okay, what? And let's check the log. That looks fine. Why is this so painful? Actually, no, that made sense. That didn't really prove anything. Because I was loading a scene that doesn't have any entities. So, yeah, it would be 0. At some point, everything will become painful. Yeah, pretty much. So, let's do this. Save the project, so that's our startup scene. Let's close it and hit play. Well, start. This should trigger it. And so I'm gonna have to test my theory again. Okay. We do hit this. And if we now go into reload, which we already have one, now it should work. And it does, good. But that's not the point. The point is, if I close this, put a breakpoint here, go in here, get rid of that field, we should no longer be able to reload and actually get new fields. And I believe that is because we don't have any fields, and so we never reinsert the entity into the map, which is a problem. Okay, we have one here, but if I do a refresh, we'll see we don't have one. We then add this back, we trigger it, and now it doesn't exist. Exactly. So the solution should just be that if... Okay, hang on. Because this would still be... I'm still not sure I entirely understand why it's happening. Well, the reason it's happening is because we don't do anything if we don't have any fields. So, up here, I'm sure there are better ways of doing this, but I should just be able to do that. And that should fix this. So let's get rid of test, build, run it. This should have fixed it. So, and if it did, I'm gonna be so happy, and so is Tim, because Tim will no longer have to be a better person. We don't have any fields. We go back in here, we added this, we do a build. Come back in, and we do have it. It works. Thank God. Can't seem to modify it for some reason, but sure, whatever. Group 5, that works. Dragging does nothing. Maybe that's intended, maybe it's not. He will no longer be a better person. Yep. Nope. Because he will no longer have to suffer. And this should also mean that if I add a bunch of these, and we just do 1, 2, 3, we do a build, come back in, Ooh, that's lovely. I love it. Automatic reloading. Definitely won't cause problems down the line. The funny thing is that means this button right here doesn't actually need to exist. Because the moment you build, it will do a reload. We may want to keep it in just in case, because I'm gonna add an option, probably in the project settings, to disable automatic reloading, because you may not want it. And, if it turns out to be problematic, then I'll be in trouble. Okay, where do we actually get the project settings from? Presumably from in here. Yeah. Because we have reload assembly on play, let's have automatically reload assembly. Where do we have that? Here. This can actually be done like this instead. We can just do an or equals with all of these. Automatically reload assembly. Yeah. Where do we have the project serializer? In here. We fixed the bug and we implemented automatic reloading. Also, this is unnecessary because we can provide a default argument here. Should it be off or on by default? I'm gonna make it on by default, I think. Which technically means we don't have to do this. We don't actually have to have that as an option. But I'll keep it in just in case. We can probably start phasing some of that stuff out eventually. I'm just realizing Jan is gonna have so much fun merging in all of the changes that we've been making over the past few months. Well, the past month, really. There's a lot to merge with the Lot on Dare stuff. There's like 3 branches, I think. There's the scripting stuff that I'm working on now. So if I disable this, go in here. I just realized I'm not actually using that option anywhere. So how do I get the config? git config. If I may ask, what is your workflow for this project? Like, is it a main branch and then feature branches, or is it main, dev, features, fixes, etc.? We don't really have like an official structure. We tend to just make a new branch for kind of generalized like features, I guess. So we obviously have master, and master we're kind of trying to make it so master is not something we work off directly. We want it to be as stable as possible. But then we have, you know, the physics refactor, which, you know, I refactored a bunch of physics stuffs. Scripting, I'm going to be working on a bunch of scripting. Animation, you know, that's an entire system. But then we have like editor workflow, which could be minor fixes and changes, you know. But we don't have like a dedicated branch to say bugs, you know. Generally speaking, we just kind of throw stuff into each branch and run with it. Well, I mean, it's working for us. It's not actually been that problematic. It could be worth doing it, but I'm not sure if it's like worth it, considering the fact that it's been working just fine. But you know, like, you never know. We're probably gonna do some changes to kind of the workflow in general, and also the way we communicate with, you know, the community and everyone who's interested in the project, because we have been terrible at doing that. Like, we don't have an official roadmap. Now we actually have an internal kind of to-do board that we use. But you know, I think the idea right now is we're going to be moving away from kind of keeping features, like feature plans on GitLab. We're going to be moving that over to Asana, which is what we use for kind of internally. And the GitLab board is going to be pretty much only for like actual issues and bugs. So we are kind of trying to restructure that. I know Jan was planning on having like an official roadmap, but I think that's a bit right now. Oh, that's not static. Okay, so that should actually do something now. But yeah, no, so we're trying to kind of improve the general structure of the development a bit. That's now disabled, so now if I go in here and get rid of a few of those, we do build, should not reload, and it doesn't. We go and do a manual reload and it works. Good. I don't see why you would ever want to have this turned off though. It's super handy. Like, you literally just make a bunch of changes, do a build, done. Just comparing it to how extremely different this is to the structure in my unit project, yeah. I mean, you also kind of have to keep in mind, Jan is single-handedly running the entire show. He's kind of responsible for. Hang on a minute. Let me go ahead and snooze that ad. You know, he is lead developer, so obviously you want to program stuff. He's got like a bunch of stuff going on YouTube. He has to manage Studio Journal, like the team, and he got a kid now, so I don't know how he's able to do anything. Protected main branch only push via pull requests and 3 accepted code reviews. Protected dev branch only push via PR and 1 to 2 accepted code reviews and then feature XYZ. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of level that you can find on some, like, not AAA studios. They're probably even more strict, but like smaller game studios. Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure that workflow. Well, it probably could work for us. And I definitely think we need to kind of be better at multiple people doing code reviews of pull requests, because I accidentally pulled a very breaking change into master that basically made it so it didn't compile for like 4 days. It was basically just syntax error because I didn't bother testing it, which, you know, the one that came up with this system works in an enterprise studio as far as I know. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to like be extra prepared. Out of curiosity, what happens if I run this in play mode? If I change this in play mode? I mean, let's get rid of all of this. Just for testing, if we do a timer, and I'll have a value, we will do timer plus equals ts and do m value plus plus, and if timer is greater than or equal to 1, I'll do timer return and do a log.info value. So if I go ahead and build this and I run it, we get a bunch of values. If I then take this and say do plus equals 6, hit save and do a build, you're kidding? That I did not think doing a reload in play mode would actually function. I recall that not working. Awesome. I do know that if you attach the debugger and you do a reload, then the debugger will cause Hazel to crash. So if I do attach to Hazelnut, we hit play, then like this is working, we hit a breakpoint, and yeah. Wow, what's this? I know, I mean, so it did break, but it's not. Okay. this is slightly strange. But if I stop and play... Okay, that is weird. Why is that happening? If we stop, we stop that. We hit play, go into debug mode, and we do that. Okay, then it works. Yeah, the extension is still a bit weird, I think. It's not quite working the way I'd hoped. Either way, that's done. Yeah, code reviews at the very least should be done, I think. Yeah, definitely. Like internally, we do test any changes we make. We basically get Tim to just sit down and use like all of the new features for like a week at least to make sure they work. But yeah. We should definitely make sure to do more code reviews for like pull requests. Although we don't get a lot of pull requests. We do have like, I think 1 or 2 now, but they're kind of stale. Let's see what we can work on. Fixing the script engine debug panel, that's not super fun. Tim the tester, yes. He gets to test everything. Okay, so improve C# texture 2D class, improve C# mesh class, general C# improvements, very descriptive here. Fix script and debug panel. So I think I know what that. I hate modern Twitch so much, getting so many ads. Yeah, the problem. So here's the thing. I can actually control ads to some degree. The problem is there's a limit to how much I can control them. So if, let's see, the shortest ad length that I can set is 30 seconds, and it goes up to 3 minutes. The biggest ad spacing I can have is 1 hour. And there's also a start delay from when I start streaming. The lowest I can set it is 1 minute, and the highest is 30 minutes. So it's a bit not great. It got to a point where some bigger streamers are switching to YouTube. Yeah, that's not just because of the ads though. I have seen a lot of people kind of take problem with a lot of the agreements and also how Twitch kind of treats their employees and that kind of stuff. I have considered doing streaming on YouTube, but I think it's a bit easier for smaller streamers to kind of get going on Twitch. Twitch has plans for more ads and the agreements are super restrictive. Oh, I know the agreements are restrictive. I am partnered. Well, I'm not partnered, I'm an affiliate. I can imagine partners have it even worse. Because I actually like read through it, and yeah, it's very restrictive. Super double-sided with some female streamers, yeah. Also, the list of kind of banned words on Twitch is actually a bit insane. Because there is a word, I'm not gonna say it, that if the streamer says it, or if someone in chat says it, that's an immediate ban. I won't say it because I don't want to get banned. But it's... let's just say it's related to anime. Don't write it out. You will probably... Well, it's probably safe, but why risk it? Okay. But yeah, Twitch definitely very restrictive on a lot of stuff. So I think there's a problem with the allocated objects panel here. Or is it the cache? There is a bug somewhere that means that if you have this panel open, you get a crash. And I think it only happens well, it's something you would call someone else. That I would not personally consider it an offensive term. This term would probably apply to Emily in some cases with certain anime characters. I don't want to say it because I don't want to risk it, but it starts with an S. I can say that. Ends with a P. So yeah, if I were to say that word, I would probably get banned for some reason, because I don't see why that would be considered a bad word. I might be uneducated, but I don't think I am. Okay, so I mean, this got reset to 0 because I do know script engine debug panel. Okay, so I guess it does in fact work. Except not quite. I'm gonna clear it there, but then we do pushback here. So could be related to reloading, I think. I don't know what that word is, but nope. And to be honest, I don't think it makes any sense why that would be a banned word. Those are often brought into a very negative light. Oh. Miner 952X, thank you for following. Okay, so the script debug panel is pretty much broken. Yeah. Okay, so I guess the script engine debug panel isn't as broken as I thought it was. So I guess consider that fixed for now. So why did I say that I was gonna improve this class? Because it is still using the old system of storing an actual pointer to the instance. That's kind of dumb. Definitely shouldn't be doing that. So let's actually go ahead and fix that. I'll close all but this. Going to script glue. Why is this the case? Well, actually, before I go ahead and do that, let's go ahead and push the changes I've made. Or at least commit them. Hey. Oh, okay. Never mind that. Let's go into scripting. Yep. That's fine. I'll leave that uncommented. Yep. Sure. That all looks good to me. Hazel now automatically reloads script, the script assembly on a. I should probably verify that we don't reload on a failed build. I don't think we should, because Visual Studio shouldn't probably shouldn't even write to the file in that case, but let's make sure. So if I'm like super dumb and forget a semicolon, that should result in a failed build. Yeah, good. And when I do this, we do hit it. Okay. Might as well test it on a success. That how you spell it? It's 1L. Build. And I also fixed script fields not appearing if the script used to have 0 fields. Sure. Let's actually push that, I guess. Okay. Now I can actually start working on the fixing up the texture stuff. So if we take a look at, say, mesh.cs, we use asset handles now. The great thing about that is you can actually reference these types from the editor, so you can actually assign it, which is quite useful. What's this mesh base? I think this is something that was part of a pull request. So let's have that. Internal texture 2D. Set it's an invalid handle. Should I support just creating a texture like what using a constructor, or should we have like what Unity does, where they have a static function called create? I guess the advantage of having a create function is you can actually do proper validation and return null if something isn't correct, whereas in a constructor you can't. Although I'm not sure how this could fail, because we'd still do texture 2D create, I think. Which, would that result in a valid handle? Is the question. Because I think these are assets. Yeah, but I don't think it would result in a valid handle. So how would this work? Because the typical way we do it is we do asset manager, loading an error texture instead of creating it. That is the laziness I expect. Yep. The way we would do this typically is create a memory only asset, but this actually constructs it using this. I could pass an instance which would call a copy constructor. Thing is, I don't know that we have one. At least texture doesn't have one, texture 2D doesn't have one. What about Vulkan texture? Yeah, Vulkan texture doesn't even have one. Cool. I could add one. Just add a copy constructor, create a memory only asset, and pass in this. Potentially. Although that still wouldn't work because we need to tell it, hey, create a Vulkan texture 2D specifically. This is painful. Again. This returns an actual ref. Well, actually, that's fine in that case. I think. Because the ref has a copy constructor. Yeah. That's fine. That's gonna work. I think. So, okay, first thing, we need to change up some of these things here. This should return an asset handle, I think. No, it needs to take it as an out parameter. That's correct. So, turn a boolean. Let's call this create. And it will do asset handle, out handle. We should have a way of destroying it from C#, but just ignore that one for now. Set data. We'll take in the handle. It will take an array of pixels and a size, which I think is redundant because we can get that. Yeah, this is redundant. We don't need that. Passing unnecessary data is not good. So we will create out handle. Just do that. Set data. And no count. Because we can do... Okay. Let's start with the create function. We do this. Then... not sure if we have a way of actually validating this. Loaded. Yeah. Except that we're not loading. Okay. Let's just do asset manager, create memory only asset. Typing texture 2D. Yeah. And we pass in result. Because that should... no, that won't do that. That will... This won't call the copy constructor of the ref, I don't think. Because we do create. It will create a new instance. Honestly, I am annoyed with the asset system. I don't know, add memory only asset. It's terrible. See, this is what you get when you start hacking stuff in. You just have to continue doing it, or it's not going to work. We don't even strictly need that. Just take this in like that. We do asset handle. Sure, let's go for that. Let's only do that if result, which should always be the case, and we'll return true. Again, I hate this. It's terrible, and I wish that Jan would just go ahead and rewrite the asset manager. But it will work, I guess, for now. So how does that work? We just give it an array. Okay. Let's not do any safety checking and assume it's valid. This returns an... Okay. Sure. We also need to grab the instance, so we don't even need to do that. We can just grab the asset, and if it's not valid, then we won't get a valid asset. Instance, sure. If not instance, let's do console log error. Right, to set texture data in an invalid texture. We grab that, we do that. Okay, cool. And visual intelligence is broken again. Now I guess we have to go in and update all of this. So, I'm not gonna have this. And we're not gonna need a destructor for now. We may want that in the future to kind of properly release the asset. We actually need to do a lot of work to get better at freeing up resources. Because right now we are not freeing up any resources. Cool. Create. And we get an out parameter. Like that. And let's also take in an optional array of data. Yeah. Because we can do some validation here. We can say if width is 0 because it cannot be less than 0. Could potentially throw an exception, since we do actually have exception handling. I think that's better actually. Throw new argument exception. In that case, let's verify these separately. Yeah. Right, to create a texture 2D with a width of 0. And then, yeah, it's redundant. With a height of 0. Otherwise, we need to do internal calls create with height out handle. Why don't you like that? Because we don't have that yet. Crap. Handle, I guess. We're gonna need a constructor, which can take... We don't need that at all, actually. This will return a result, which, if not, return null, I guess. Otherwise, return a new texture 2D. Like that. That should be fine. Would be nice if we could access the width and height in here. So... make them private. Nothing else should ever set the width and height here. Width. Okay, I like this a lot better. The only problem here is, what if we want to assign this through the editor? In that case, we actually need a constructor that can... We do actually need this. Which means we're gonna need another way of getting the width and height using an internal call. Yeah. So we need a texture 2D constructor, which takes in an asset handle. I appreciate that you want to help me, Visual Studio, but that's not what I wanted. So we're gonna need like... Yeah. Well, we can actually do this as an inline call, like this. And just do out, width, out, height. Fine. Well, we don't need that technical. We can just do... And do... width. And that. Cool. And let's call this get size, get dimensions. Well, dimensions kind of... Let's do get size. I don't trust you to generate that for me. Internal static extern void get size out. Yep. So same thing here. Grab that. Say, tried to get texture size using an invalid handle. And those like messages that I'm printing, they're mainly for my kind of testing to make sure that everything works. Because you're very unlikely to actually run into this if you're using the kind of master branch. And I assume this has a get width. It does. Nice. Cool. Let's make sure we register it. Get size. Now, the problem is I don't think this is going to build because IntelliSense has completely given up, which is mildly annoying. Okay, so we're trying to access that in material. Yay, IntelliSense, nice job, yeah. I don't know why, but IntelliSense will sometimes just break in the script glue. Because, like, look at this. No instance of function template add component. Like, you're lying, I know it exists. Like, right here. Boom, it's there. And I guess that did not fix anything. If I'm not mistaken, I have to restart Visual Studio. Should be that one. IntelliSense sometimes breaks in very interesting ways. Yeah. And I don't understand why. Like, something must go horribly wrong internally. Because now I think it works. Yeah. Now I believe the material. Thank you. Material CS file. Yeah. We're gonna have to update this to use. And it will have to be ref. Texture handle. Good. I just disable IntelliSense into error checking. Yeah. It's still kind of useful for me to have it. I've considered disabling it. But I don't know. I can kind of work around it. Sure, let's go for that. We grab that. Texture. Get asset. Texture 2D. If not texture. Right, to set an invalid texture instance. Seriously? It broke again? Okay, whatever. Thank you. I mean, I could arguably set this to build only. That might, yeah, script glue. I mean, it is kind of a glue. Because if I do that, and we re-enable this, then I don't think we're gonna get any errors. Yeah, actually we do. Even though I set it to build. Fine. It's times like these that I hate Visual Studio so much. Okay. In theory, it should work. Should at least build, if anything. Let's run it to make sure we don't have any real problems. Doesn't look like we have any real problems. So, if I go in here, add a new script file. Let's call it texture testing. Don't need any of those. I need let's see. So I'm gonna have an entity. So we're gonna define entity by tag. Call it mesh entity. We need to grab static mesh component. And I think this hash, yeah. I think it's the mesh material, potentially. Because we have the mesh. We have the mesh, which we can get materials from. But the component also has materials. Now, I think it's the mesh in this case, but well, I guess I can kind of control that. Let's do base material, set texture. Okay, what's the uniform name for it? Is it just albedo texture or something? Actually, I can take a look in Hazel, show all files, resources, shaders, include, GLSL. I think it's on buffers. No, it's not. It's under the static here. And we have a material. albedo texture. We really need to document those. So I want to basically set its texture. But what I'm gonna do is cache, it's a static mesh. Mesh, sure. And I'm just gonna assign it to static mesh component dot mesh. Then on update, we actually need to go ahead and generate a texture. Let's make it, I don't know, really pixelated. One thing I should do is do this. We'll do if data is not equal, well, if data is not null and data length greater than 0, we do that, and then we return texture. So we're gonna need a vector4 array. This is in pixels, so this represents each pixel, I think. I don't know, colors. And it needs to be 32 by 32. And this one doesn't have a random vector3, so let's do colors I new vector 4 load. And give it a alpha 1. And if I'm not incorrect, I think we need those to be 0 through 255. No, 0 to 1, which is exactly what this is gonna do. So we do that, we do m texture, set data colors. In here we'll do if input is key pressed. We'll make it the H button. We'll do that, but I don't want to run that constantly, so we'll do private first frame, well, has changed texture, doesn't really matter. But if that and not that, do this. Let's build it. Hopefully, we should get a bunch of random pixels. Let's face it, we're probably gonna get a crash. So, gonna make a new scene. Thank you. Texture testing. Let's add camera, directional light, and a skylight. Give it a dynamic sky. We'll add an empty entity, which we'll call script. Texture testing. We'll then add a, okay, so this one, we don't have any meshes. Okay. Scripting. We should include these kind of basic shapes as a default thing. Let's grab our cube, except that's not source. Cube. Drag that out. Hey. Huh? Oh yeah, I remember there was some issues with this kind of stuff. Camera, light, skylight. Create a cube, which still doesn't work, but I should now be able to drag this out. Static. Cool. And call this mesh entity. Create an empty, call it script. Pain. Why did I do this? If this is end, return false. Jesus. Okay. Cube. Thank you. Save. Okay. Hit play, I guess. Okay. Pixels was null pointer. It was. Shouldn't have been. Let's see if we can figure out where it crashed. Okay, whatever. Step in here. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Should now work. We just had the wrong method signature. Okay. So what? Except it's not. Oh. Wait. Buffer doesn't exist. Why not? The image data doesn't exist. Do we not allocate that? Yes. Looking texture 2D. It should be this one. It's this one. So data doesn't exist. Oh, okay. Yeah. We need to do otherwise. We need to allocate a... How do you do this again? You just do... So allocate that. And then zero initialize it. I suspect is the way to go. Buffer allocate size. So we weren't actually allocating anything. Okay. Now it should be fine. I hope. Excuse you? Oh. It's because I have that damn shader open. Installed a GLSL extension. Huh? Uh-huh. Illegal call to non-study. Okay. This really is not my day. Allocated. Zero initialized. You happy now? Thank you. This is why it's important to do testing. Okay? I have no idea if that worked. This way? Nope. This way. What is forward? Oh, it's just incredibly hard to see. I'm gonna do something horrifying. Where do we have it? Disable bloom. That doesn't look like it's working. That does not look like my texture. Okay. Let's... So we never call that. I'm an idiot. I am such an idiot. I didn't press the key to actually display the texture. Jesus. Okay. We get a null reference. What is null then? 31. Base material, I'm guessing. The mesh may not have a material. Should have. What does base material do? Calls get material 0. Grab the material table. It does have one. We do that. I haven't attached the debugger. Bill. Okay. Non-public. Except it's not. It has a handle of 0. Which means it has a handle of 0 in here. Okay, so it's a material asset. Well, yeah, we never actually... So... because this should be an asset, I think. Yeah. Which means we actually need to go and assign a handle by default. Like that. The problem is it won't be an actual asset though. But that might not matter. Because I don't think we try and actually instantly reference it. So let's let that run. And we still get a null pointer on null reference. 31. So yeah, it still can't get it. But we are in fact initializing a handle. So what's up? It does have a valid handle, but we check this, which would return false, which would then result in a null reference exception. Yeah. Okay. I think I know how to fix this. Because if I'm not incorrect, what's up, Tony? Good to see ya. If I'm not wrong, then these materials aren't actually proper assets. So the question is, should they be... Because even if we have a valid handle, they may not be an actual, valid material. So if we take a look in here, we do get material asset. And if it's not a valid asset handle, then we bail. No, if the mesh handle is not valid. Okay. Otherwise, we grab that. And we try and get the one from the mesh first. Do we? This material is expected to be in a component. Is it? No, it isn't. So we go through, we grab the material table. We then manually check the handle. Which means that arguably, this doesn't actually need to check if it's a valid handle like that. We just need to check that it does in fact exist like that. Yeah. Ooh boy! It actually works. It's stretched out as hell, but it does in fact work. So we can now set textures from C#. Cool. And now I am going to take a quick bathroom break, so I'll be back in a moment. And I'm back. Let's change the music. Let's go for this one. Okay. So I'm probably gonna be live for like another 2 hours probably. One quick second. Okay. Now, unfortunate thing here, the material, the texture is still there after we stop playing. And this is a big problem that I'm unsure how we're gonna resolve. Because this has now modified the material of, which I guess doesn't even function properly, of the cube. Why would I want to stop debugging? I may have to talk to Jan about like how we're gonna solve this. We could of course copy all of the assets, but that sounds horrible. Because all the changes made during the runtime should be temporary. Let's actually work on being able to take in a texture in here. Because currently it works for meshes, I think. Mesh and static mesh, you can take those in here, like from Hazel as a field. Let's make that work for texture 2Ds. So let's see our tube texture. And I should be good and use the API as it's supposed to, which is showing editor. Probably make a constructor here. So we can just do that. Yeah, sure. Let's roll with that. Now, if I build this, I don't know if it will crash, but I don't think it will do anything. Yeah, we don't get anything showing. So in order to do that, let's see if I can remember how to do this. We need to first of all go into script types, I think. Yes. We need to add texture 2D to that list. Don't want to use Visual Studio's tool for this. Here, if type class is not a value type, say regular class. If type class is texture 2D, should probably just have a map of this. Okay. Then we need to go into script utils. That should already handle it. Okay. Good, good. And I think the rest is serialization. We can add texture 2D, texture 2D. Okay. We also need to go on the script cache and make sure that we do in fact cache the texture 2D class. And then I think all that's left to do is render it, which is going to be very similar to this. And we have one up here, I think. Yeah. So we need to go ahead and add texture 2D. And I think that's it. That should now have exposed that type. I probably forgot to do something, but I don't know what. I always tend to forget some little part when exposing stuff like this. It shows up. And if I go into... Well, let's go ahead and close this first so we don't get any problems. Let's go into here. Do we have any textures? Well, none that... I believe the sponsor demo source has one. Yes. Let's take this texture. Bring it over there. Alright, that's promising. Let's do this instead. Cube texture. Hey, works. I can't believe I did that first try. We should... Yeah, let's go. We're getting stuff done today. So it would be good, but like you can see it's still permanently applied, which is super annoying. Currently, I don't think we have any texture properties exposed to this class. But if we take a look under here, we can actually take in some texture properties. Yeah, like a debug name, the wrapping and the filter method, all of this. Or at the very least, the wrapping and the filter, I think. That should actually be really simple to do, because they're just enums, so we can send them across as is. So if we come up here, we do public enum, texture wrap, clamp, repeat, and the texture filter. Which is nonlinear, nearest, and cubic. Linear, nearest, cubic. Yeah. Cool. Let's make it so this one can take those in. Should we go with data or these enums first? Let's take in the enums first. So let's take like the wrap mode, and the default is what exactly? Repeat. Filter mode, which is linear. Yeah, let's go for that. Ubermoosh, thank you for following. Love that name. So it's wrap mode, filter mode. And I think I can just take in enums like that. Yeah, I can. Cool. Then script glue. And it was wrap mode, filter mode, right? Yeah. I have no idea if these actually work. But if we give this texture a wrap mode of clamp, and we do nearest filtering, and we change this to use texture again. We should actually see quite a difference if I remember to build. Coding Monkey, thanks for following. Oh ho! Still looks a bit dodgy, but that could just be due to the way it unwraps or something like that. Definitely looks a lot better. I mean, if I go in here, and no, not that. Here, we get rid of these. Yeah. I mean, there's such a massive difference. And this is going to be great because it means you can, for example, generate height maps through code. And assign them as a texture if you want. Okay. Yeah, I think there's some UV issues here. Okay, that was ridiculously simple to do. Anything else in terms of textures that we want to do? Resize maybe, but change the filter mode and that kind of stuff at runtime. Sorry about that. Thank you. We're on the kind of, it's what is it, spring, and so we're starting to get some pollen flying around, and that always messes with my nose a bit. So I don't see a way of changing the filtering at runtime unless the image supports it. No. And I honestly can't be bothered adding that. I may have to ask Jan to do that. Because it's a part of the sampler. Which means, okay, so if we change, then we have to invalidate this, basically. Yeah, I don't think we like need that right now. Could be good to be able to actually read the data from a texture. Potentially. Which I don't think would be too difficult. It's basically doing the reverse of this. We get the, I think we have instance, get I don't think it's the writable buffer we want though. Where is it? Yeah, because it's just image data. But that updating that won't. Potentially. This is not used for storage. Well, it's okay. Let's give it a shot. See if we can read the data. We're gonna return a new mono array. We could also force the user to create an array if we wanted to. We may support that at some point. So we need to do mono array new, although I could use my fancy managed array thing here. Result. Like 4. Length. That would be width times height is what that would be. So let's do get width and let's do instance lock. Which actually does nothing. I guess that's potentially for when we have multi-threading. We need to grab a buffer. We don't need to do an assert. Grab the pixels. Grab an index. I think. Because the pixels would have a size of width times height times 4. And we need to grab these. So yeah, no, because it's actually, yeah, so we're gonna have to do load dereference pixels, because that should be pointing to the front of the buffer, divided by 255. Would this work?
drip different, this is 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's is easy.
Maybe.
Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got hit
And then
like I'm Barry Bonds.
result.
Money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need to keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage.
Yeah, I can't use the index operator.
I'ma let you hear 'em just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going
The index. That track. Thanks for following. I think this will work. Possibly. And we could just use I here. Yeah. So index is not needed. Sure, let's go for it. I don't think it will work, but let's give it a shot. Get data. These are the kind of like functions you normally wouldn't consider when you're writing this for the first time, because there's such like niche use cases. Where's my texture? There it is. What would be a fun way of testing this? Well, we could say that when we press this button, the first thing we're going to do is do texture get data, just to verify that we're actually getting correct data. We'll do that. And then we do texture set data. Because if this is not ready correctly, then we're gonna set it incorrectly and we should see a change. So let's give that a shot. Why are you upset? Unsupported native type. We don't have one for vectors. That's not great. Let's add those. Now it should work. Damn cat.
Trying to keep my focus right. Every glimpse of you deserts me.
There's a massive stream delay.
But baby, I saw you for a second and I'm happy that you came my way. Don't wanna waste no time without you ever brightening up my days. Never meant to fall so
Or it might just be that my stream view is desynced. That might actually have been the case. Because for me, it looked like there was like a 20-second delay. Ah. Okay, so yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Because we haven't said it yet. We should also handle that. Well, actually, we should have said it. We set it up here. So it's not this then? How do we read in the data? Well, we can read in a buffer from the image, which may work. No, that didn't work either. I don't know that Hazel actually has the capability of doing this. Because yeah. What? Hazel doesn't support reading texture data from the CPU. You serious? Well, that's awesome. So we don't actually store the image data on the CPU. Load image. Which does in fact load it. But then I guess we release it at some point.
I wanna say something, but
We
Dynamite, that smile's gonna be the end of me. I bet you taste like chocolate. Can I have it for free?
yeah, we
That smile's
reset
gonna
it
be the end of me.
when we invalidate.
I wanna say something, but
So that's a
you are all that I see.
mm,
You got
um
dynamite, that smile's gonna be the end of me.
from the CPU,
I bet you taste like chocolate.
or when
Can I have it for free?
image data
That smile's
is
gonna be the end of me.
persistently
That smile's
stored
gonna be
on
the end of me. I wanna say something, but
in
you
RAM.
are all that I see. You got dynamite, that
Awesome.
smile's gonna be the end of me.
I'm not gonna delete the functions because
Can I have it for free?
why would I?
Explosion,
We're
that
gonna
smile's gonna
have
be
them
the
eventually.
You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. Let's take each other out. You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. You cannot lie over a Mai Tai. Let's take each other out.
Um, do we have a way of freeing textures internally? We can validate them, but doesn't look like we can actually free it unless we call the destructor, which we can't because it's stored in the asset manager. So for now, getting rid of the constructor or destructor. But either way, the texture 2D class is far better structured now, which I'm happy about. We can optionally provide data here, which we should test. Get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, we should probably check that pausing the data in the constructor works. It should, but you know, might as well be safe about it. Didn't seem to work. There it is. Come on. Thanks. Huh. Let's go ahead and attach the debugger, put a breakpoint. Step into here. Data should exist. Yep. We create it. Like that. We call set data. We get in here. Seems to be valid. We have a writable buffer, which looks to be correct. But it's not being reflected. But it works. When I do that. Yes. Am I correct in this? It doesn't work anymore. Hey. Again, I am so dumb because I never pressed the H key. Yeah, so it works. Cool. That's good. Okay. Either way, I am probably gonna go ahead and commit this and then end the stream because I'm getting a bit hungry. Let's see. Yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah. We need that. We need that. In fact, we probably need all of this. But let's go and review the changes real quick. Yep. Yep. That looks good. That's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much what we did. We fixed a bug with C# materials. I should say with C# mesh materials specifically. Logan texture 2D now properly handles allocate, because it's the fact that we've let's do no longer requires you to pass in data when creating a texture programmatically. Also hacked in method of adding a memory only asset to the asset manager instead of creating it. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Let's go ahead and push it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. I'll probably stream. Let's see, it's Thursday. I'll probably stream either tomorrow or on Monday, because I don't think I'm gonna be streaming during the weekend. So yeah, either way, have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you guys